Applying Toxic Lesbianism to 2013 Meme Culture. Howdy hole, and welcome to Hole Chat, the only podcast going whole first into the new year. I'm your host, Chuck, and with me is the foxiest woman on the planet, Keelz.
Hello. I'm just thinking of someone going down a water slide with their hole exposed now, and there's like a dildo taped to the bottom.
Have you heard about the horrifying stories of somebody going down a water slide too hard hole first and like ripping their intestines?
No, that sucks.
That is a thing.
That sucks.
Like, there's a reason why they tell you to like cross your arms and like cross your legs. It's to make sure that the water doesn't like go straight into your butthole. Water slides are incredibly dangerous.
I don't think I've ever had anyone tell me to cross my legs.
You've never been on a water slide high enough or tall enough though either.
That's true. I am afraid of heights.
And you've usually been on the ones that have the like inner tube and stuff too. Mm-hmm. Those are safer. But no, there's a story of somebody getting their butthole ripped open like once a year at some sort of water park.
Yikes.
Yeah. Butthole, intestines. Yeah, I mean, any area you have down there could get, by water. Water's very dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, I know it can cut shit, so like, but yeah, wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're joking, but you can really hurt yourself.
The more you know.
What a great way to start. Sorry. Happy New Year. It's by the time this is getting recorded, it's been a hell of a year already for multiple people.
God damn.
Shout out to 2025. Hopefully.
Don't put a curse on us.
Yeah, just shout out to 2025. We'll figure it out.
Just shout out to 25 and leave it.
We'll figure the fuck out. Well, our year's been okay-ish so far. We've been sick.
Why are you talking about it? Just move on from 2025 completely, you weirdo.
We have been sick for a couple weeks, though. We got a Christmas cold. Shout out to us for being ill as always. But we're here. We're back. We're ready to talk about Hole at length. The only resolution I'm setting for myself so far is to read more pornography. I want to be inundated in queer pornography more than I ever have been. I'm going whole first into the new year, for sure.
You know, I thought you were going to say was to kill the guy with the car horn. Because, like, we've been talking about it a lot.
Secondary resolution, to kill my neighbor with his fucking car horn going off at all hours of the night for a shitty-ass car. But first and foremost, and legally something that I can do with no repercussions is read more pornography. Mm-hmm. Second, if the gods will it, is kill that man.
No one at this podcast wishes to murder.
Ooh. Do you have any resolutions, or are you just winging it this year?
My resolution actually is like to draw more for other fandoms. I typically just draw for one fandom. Mm-hmm. And, like, I like writing and drawing, but, like, for whatever reason, I'm just always drawing for one fandom. So I made myself, like, a little wheel, and now I spin it to, like, make me branch out into other fandoms. It's not that I don't like those fandoms. I just don't draw for them. Mm-hmm. And then, like, to keep working on my own personal book project. Yeah. Which, like, I feel like I got past the hump of some things, and so now I'm just planning out other stuff to go along with it, and it's all part of it, and I just have to remember, even if you're not writing, you gotta plan sometimes. You can't just jump in straight forward all the time. Sometimes you gotta pause.
Oh, that's part of the creative process. It's all important.
Yeah. So those are really the things I'm focusing on this year, besides getting my body right through physical therapy and treatment.
We are all, I think that's my next big one, is getting my body right and getting your body right. Like, collectively, I'd like both of our bodies to be functional by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Or more functional. If we both if you could achieve 80% and I could achieve just not saying ow for a 24-hour period, I think we'll win the year for sure.
Yeah, holy crap. Like, last year was the year of you have an autoimmune disease and you have a work injury. Haha. Like, yeah, that was last year.
Yeah. Double chronic illnesses and the work injury from hell. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We're doing it. Well, it's New Year's, which means time for lesbians. That's really, there's really not a better way to start the new year than going straight into scissoring for fun, you know?
Scissoring without actual scissors. Let's use the gooey bits.
Yeah. So we're doing a comic that I read a long time ago. I think back in 2016. I like swooped into Killing Stalking and then immediately started reading some other very good comics. And then I thought, man, Mono's really popping off. I wonder if there's lesbians. Yes, but there were only like 2 comics out on Lazen at the time.
Was Killing Stalking your first foray into manhwa?
Technically, it was the second thing I'd read that was manhwa, but we had a weird like manhwa
But it was
schedule.
pretty early.
Yeah, we had a weird manhwa schedule in America. Because I remember in 2006, I picked up a manhwa comic. It was a physical book, and I read that, and I really liked that. And then I remember checking back and being like, well, I hope they release more from her or whatever. I hope this keeps going. It was the original iteration of Net Comics released stuff for a hot minute, and a lot of it was like weird, and they didn't have a good funding system or whatever, and so they went like bankrupt in like a couple years, and I stopped seeing manhwa completely. So I was shocked to find out that Killing Stalking was 1, a thing, and then 2, also making manhwa. And so that was the real slide in, was Killing Stalking, and then I thought, that was cool. You got any lesbians there?
Damn, though.
Yeah, they only had two lesbian comics up at the time too, and one I was like, I ain't stupid, I'm not touching that, because it immediately went into like, we're in a brothel, and I was like, pause. So the other one that was available and was like a decent way through at the time is the one we're talking about today, which is called What Does the Fox Say?
Mm-hmm.
Which is rough enough, and I definitely did read it because of the title alone, and understanding that the summary was not taking place in a brothel. I was a child. No, I wasn't a child. I was a grown person.
You're a college student when What Does the Fox Say?
Yeah,
came out, and then you see a manhwa title with it. It's simple math.
I'm not a smart man, so I went ahead and read it. So, What Does the Fox Say is a 2015 Yuri-licious manhwa written by Yeomji and artist Gaji. Together, they create under the name Team Gaji. This comic is full of interpersonal drama with an edge of extra insanity that only K-dramas can provide. And the comic production itself also wasn't without its own drama either. And of course, like, there's lesbians. There's so many lesbians. They're like a metric fuck ton of them. It's the sort of series that makes you think, everybody's gay, huh? And you would be right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we open up on Ju Sungji's first day at her new job at a game development studio. Unsurprisingly, her new team is mostly full of men because it's game development. Even in Korea, it's skewed towards men. And Sungji's looks are striking, to say the least. So it's like a holy being has descended upon this studio. Because she has like light hair, light eyes, almost gets mistaken for being a foreigner.
Oh.
Very, very captivating. Everyone's super into her. I can actually show you too real quick. Because it's also interesting.
I've seen images of this, but I don't know who's who.
Yeah.
So, like, this will be a nice, like, putting the name to the faces.
Yeah, so she, like, even looks kind of like Bombshell, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I don't know, like Barbie.
Yeah, almost like kind of...
Fierce Barbie.
Yeah, almost like Fierce Barbie, yeah. She has her cute times, too, but, like, everyone catches her immediately, and especially when she's looking serious. She's a very, like, resting serious face, so people just think, she's gorgeous and a goddess, and she's going to step on me, or, like, I'm not worthy of being in her presence. That's Sunji all day. So, everyone's in awe. And then they all collectively realize that their boss is out of the country, so they will have to interact directly with this otherworldly creature. These motherfuckers are too nervous to talk to her, and the director of their team is also unavailable, so they leave her to her own devices for her whole first day. She does nothing. She does absolutely nothing because her beauty is too intimidating, and she's honestly a bit standoffish. Like, not on purpose, but imagine you're new to someplace and people don't talk to you. And so you're not trying to talk to them because maybe you're nervous. This is your first big girl job. What do? She's not being a jerk on purpose. It's just she's coming off that way a little bit. But she's like too pretty and too perfect and kind of too polite. And so there's really no hope of her learning anything until either her direct boss or the director return. So, day 2, she's balls deep in playing an advanced game of Minesweeper when the director arrives. If Sunji's strikingly beautiful to the point of awe, Seong Soo-min, the director, is a pinnacle of adorable. So she suffers from what I also suffer from, which is looking younger than I need to. So she is older. Mm-hmm. She's about 10 years older than Sunji, but everyone...
She looks younger.
Yeah, she's got a little baby face. Mm-hmm. So Soo-min greets Sunji rather casually, commenting on her Minesweeper high score, and proclaiming that she's 34. That's one of the first things that she says, that Soo-min says, is, I'm 34. It's like, hello, nice to meet you, I'm 34.
Please don't think I'm a child. So,
right?
Like, that's her preference.
Right. She then escorts Sunji to her office to finally give her some details on work expectations and, like, what she's actually supposed to be doing while she's here. Sunji, now equipped with the knowledge about work tasks, rejoins the rest of the team, who's finally learning to relax with her. They're little bitches, and they needed their big bad director to handle the newly hired Fae creature before they could comfortably address her. So she's able to get to work and interact with her team members, and also learns why Miss Soo-min aged herself during her introduction. Soo-min is cute. Mm-hmm. Like, too cute. Said it before. She's aware that she looks way too young for her age. She knows everyone feels it, and she's tired of people thinking that she's way too young and assuming that she's underage or not being taken seriously. Because she's had it come up often enough where people are like, not only are you young, but you're such a little baby, I can, like, take advantage of you or make you feel a certain way about yourself. But she's sick of it. So
like,
she
take
never...
advantage of her, like, sexually or, like, at work?
At work, specifically.
Okay.
Though, like, she is hot enough to where...
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a vibe, because you never know with office stories.
Yeah.
It can be both.
She is hot enough to where I'm pretty sure men have given the, like, hey, little lady kind of talk, and it might be a little bit sexual, but they all know better because she is fearsome when it comes to getting work done. And she's a giant workaholic, too. So now everyone eventually learns, but she's just sick of it being the first thing that people bring up. Yeah. So she, of course, wasted no time stating her age. But too bad for Soo-min, because this whole debacle just makes Sunji think that she's even cuter.
Yeah?
Yeah. Sunji's just like, it's so cute how she does that. And I'm like, uh-oh, we're already here. We're not even a full chapter in, and you're already realizing, the lesbianism started. So later on her second day, Sunji is working through lunch, trying to be a good new employee. Soo-min shoves a paper bag in her face, explaining that though it's her dinner, it would be a bigger problem if Sunji skips lunch, which is good boss behavior. Making sure that your newbie doesn't skip lunch and make a habit of, like, working too hard. Mm-hmm. Totally good bossing right there. New employee shouldn't starve or develop bad habits. Cool, fine. She then sits next to Sunji and pulls out a fox plush, claiming it came with the food, and she doesn't like it, so, Sunji could totally have it if she wants. Less bossing. More suspicious, maybe? But at this point, you're not sure if Soo-min is horny or just affectionate like an older person would be to someone new to the workforce. But this is Yuri, so...
Yeah, so we know that this is like, here you go, here's this thing, maybe. Like a little tsundere a little bit.
Maybe not even that. It's just such a weird story being like, oh, I brought you a sandwich, and I got a free plush with it. Do you want it? Like, you could go either way on it.
Yeah, like, it doesn't have to be tsundere, but, like, given how Yuri tends to go, that is what pops up in my head first. Is like, here you go, it's this thing. I don't like it. Maybe trash like you will like it. Ha ha ha.
Oh, it's not even that. It's very more like an older. You can kind of mix up with like your upper class person.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I'm saying like it immediately strikes those old school lesbian vibes, like how Yuri for a while was one note, which is toxic school lesbians. Mm-hmm. Like even accidentally, it's just immediately striking that note of toxic school lesbians. Here we go again.
Mm-hmm. But like she's pretty sweet about it in the end, and Sunji does accept the fox, and then she makes the gayest possible choice by placing that fox in the place of honor at her bedside, where she can look at it before she goes to sleep that night.
Girl.
And of course, she thinks, wow, this fox looks just like Soo-min. So we already kind of have like a little bit of a title drop, fox relating it to Soo-min, but also like, girl, come on. It's day 2. You can't seriously be like this already. So this wouldn't be a proper workplace story without a welcoming party, as always. And so Sunji is already too popular, so of course they throw her one.
Mm-hmm.
Her manager's still not in town, so they're skipping out on the manager being a part of it, but they still got to do it. And so now that her coworkers have actually spoken to her, they realize she's super nice. Like, not just invariably hot. She is actually a cool person to talk to. She's very polite to everyone. She's not got that kind of haughty, hot girl attitude or anything. She really wants to connect with people. They end up saying some out-of-pocket shit, like how she looks like a foreigner, but drinks are flowing and adults are also stupid. Mm-hmm. But luckily, Sunji is far more focused on her nearly passed out director.
Okay.
Because Sumin has to drink for work, but she is shit at holding her liquor. She just can't do it. She's so shit at holding her liquor. So she's already 3 sheets to the wind and has pulled a tie off of one of her subordinates to wear on her head.
Oh, wow. She's that drunk, huh?
No, yeah. So she's full on mega drunk.
Cute.
I can actually show you too. Here, right here.
Oh, she's adorable.
Yeah, it just makes her look more baby too. She passes out.
She's really adorable.
She is very cute. So before Sunji can actually really worry about her, the president of the company arrives. The president is Big Seju. She has gorgeous boss bitch aesthetics and pink hair.
Bake Seju.
Yeah, Bake Seju.
Bake.
We've had a lot of bakes. Everyone uses Bake as a last name in a lot of the comps we're reading. I think I have another one that's coming up that also has Bake as a last name.
Okay.
Whatever the case is, there's a lot of them. Bake Seju.
There's a lot of S names in this.
Yes. Everybody has, all the main girls have S names.
Shit.
Sumin, Sunji, and Seju.
Oh no, this is gonna go terrible for me.
It was a nightmare reading
New
too.
names.
I love them. Okay, so Seju.
Oh shit, she's kind of hot.
Uh-huh. So Seju is unreasonably hot. She's got that boss bitch energy. At the beginning of the comic too, she's got the long pink hair flowing over her shoulder. Everyone's kind of smitten by her because she is super hot. Everyone's super excited to see her as well because she's a good president. She kind of lets them do whatever the fuck they want to do. Who's going to complain about that? But when she shows up, she gets way too close to Sunji, which should be interpreted as older sister or Nuna behavior. But you can already tell she's untrustworthy.
That's already dangerous lesbian.
Yeah, someone that hot, you know better. You know she causes mess. So the president rouses Sumin and takes her home, encouraging everyone to be safe in her absence. Because they're like, well, why don't you stick around? She's like, no, I gotta take her home. You know how it is. I'm busy. It is what it is. If you're suspicious as to why she showed up to just take an employee home, don't be. They're old friends.
Sounds like a girlfriend behavior.
Which is why the next scene features Sumin finger banging the president in her bedroom. Friendship.
Sumin is the black-haired one.
Mm-hmm, the boss, yeah.
This is not gonna. There's too many S's. This is not gonna go well.
There's nothing we can do.
You need to get a board up with their faces. We're gonna have to get a whole other monitor so we can do this.
We're gonna get the pin board out, and I'll fill you in as we go along. But yeah, so president is banging the boss. They're old friends. Sure, why not? We finger bang friends around here. That's totally fine.
This is not friendship. This is a situationship, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's probably worse than that, I'd say.
Oh boy. I love not knowing shit. I love coming in and just not knowing anything, and then it's gonna get bad somehow, blah, blah, blah.
It'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone loves lesbians. What?
Hear me out. In manhwa, no one loves lesbians. They are dangerous beasts. They're here to fuck your shit up and fuck your other lesbian up and take the one shiny soft lesbian and turn them into a cunt. Lesbians are dangerous in mangas. They're fearsome creatures.
You're making me think about that one woman who went around dueling the husbands of the lovers that she had and just fucking any woman she could find.
It was during the Grand Tour eras, right?
Yeah, I can't remember her fucking name, but she's my hero.
She was fucking amazing. Look, real lesbians are fine. fantasy lesbians scare me. Like, just, Yuri is so toxic. I'm already, like, on edge about this.
Hey, no one breaks a leg in this one.
Great, I'm sure something else terrible happens.
Someone does almost get murdered.
Uh-huh. Typical lesbianism in a manga. That is, like, not even a joke.
If it helps, the straights do it.
That actually, I hate to see straight on gay people crime, but it's nice that it's not it's nice that it's not another lesbian torturing her. Are you gonna have to take that back?
You know what's weird? They do send a woman to do it, but they do it more because she's more likely to trust a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, being close to her, coming in. So they prey on the whole, like, well, you know, women trust women thing. So it's more about that and not, like, you know, a lesbian that comes to kill her or whatever. But it is still a woman that tries to kill her. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever. Alright. The next morning finds Baek Seju and Sunji sharing an elevator up to the office. So our main character, the blonde, and then Little Miss Pink Toxicity are sharing an elevator up to the office. They exchange pleasantries, and then Sunji stares at the president for longer than a normal person should. When caught, she remarks that the scent Miss President is wearing is nice, and it suits her. Later that morning, Sunji stops by Sumin's office to go over some documents with her. Much like earlier, she stares too long at Sumin, but in this case, she takes it a step further and leans in until the tip of her nose nearly touches Sumin's hair. This is her boss.
The blonde girl does this to her boss.
Yeah. She leans in too close. This time, she remarks that Sumin and the president smell the same. She's immediately asked to leave by an embarrassed Sumin.
Jesus. Girl.
Like, yeah, obviously we're reading a Yuri, but this is the first hint we get that Sunji's very gay. She stares at her manager so intently. That's the only person who seems to be on her mind. Like, she's either working or she's looking at Sumin. That evening, right after work, it's raining and Sumin is standing just outside the front doors of the office. Sunji, ever the kind subordinate, offers her umbrella, since she already has a ride home for the evening. There's a bit of a back and forth as Sumin also has a ride, but ultimately she takes the umbrella. Her ride, for reasons, is the president. Seju asks her about dinner plans, you know, like a friend would after their buddy's been sick for a few days, but Sumin's not having it. She would rather do the nasty, and there's absolutely no hidden motive behind it in the least. They're just fucking, and it's... Sumin just wants to. I promise you, she just wants to. There's no other reason why she would be suddenly really horny for her friend.
Sumin is the black-haired one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Feel free to cut out all the times I'm going to ask who is who. It's embarrassing.
Dude, no, it's totally fair. As I was reading this, I was like, this is going to sound terrible being spoken about.
Yeah, like...
Because at least you have visuals. When you're looking at the comic, you have visuals, but there's no visual. I wish I could, like, send to y'all right now, every time I say one of their names, like, it's the black one. Like, it's into color to you. The artist and the author, the artist-author team, they said specifically, they're like, oh, we just liked how these names sounded because they're pretty. And I'm like, I get that, but could you please help me out a little bit?
They are pretty, and I don't know why it's so hard to remember certain names when they all start with the same letter. But I would be having the same problem if, like, if their names were, like, Claudia, Carl, and, like, Charlie. I would be struggling even then.
Oh, for sure.
Like, it's just something about, like, oh shit, they can't all start with the same letter. I'll never remember.
Yeah, it's not a dumb American thing. It's a, oh, holy God, that's too many S's kind of thing.
God.
But yeah, so there's no hidden motive behind Sumin wanting to dick down the president. Not dick down, clit down?
Clit down.
There's no hidden motive behind Sumin trying to clit down the president. Just like there's no deeper meaning behind the president saying, sometimes it's like you're still in love with me. Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this, Scoob.
Yeah, I did learn a term that's used in Spanish a lot. It's like la toxica.
Oh. So
Kinda,
she's La Toxica, huh?
Yeah, but like derogatory. Because normally it's kind of like cutesy, like, oh, she's kind of crazy and she always like speaks her mind and is, you know, out in the streets and she'll fight for people, blah, blah, blah. This time I'm like, ooh, I don't know about you. So payday arrives, and Sunji is excited because it's her first paycheck at her first big girl job. She offers to take her manager to lunch as thanks for all of his help in the past few days, but also because she wants to spend money for the first time. And I feel that. I think everybody spent their first paycheck on something stupid.
Oh my god, yeah, like that's sort of like tradition. Go get like some fried chicken or a tchotchke or like I don't know, lingerie, just celebrate.
Yeah, even if your first paycheck was something that you like needed to spend on something, there's still that urge like, yeah, I paid my bills, I'm getting a Snickers. Yeah. It's just what you got to do. And her manager, now that he's actually in the picture, is like a super nice guy. He when he meets Sunji, is smitten by her appearance. Like, he's in the middle of like passing out snacks for everybody after his trip, and he's eating something, he's drinking some coffee, and when he meets Sunji for the first time, coffee dribbles out of his mouth as he stares at her.
Bro.
And then he turns quickly around and it's like, subordinate, hold my coffee. And he looks back at her and he's like, hey, smooth his hair back.
No.
I'm your manager. But he's still got coffee on his face.
Nah.
So already he's a goofball. I remember when I read this the first time, I was a little bit nervous because it's like...
Yeah, I'm taking it as he's a creep.
I would wait. I would hold on. Because he's very smitten with her, but he is also trying to be a good boss to her.
Well, that's nice that it's just bad first impression.
Yeah. And with Sunji's past, this is not the weirdest thing that's happened to her either. This would not be the first or last person that's very into her.
Okay, Sunji is the blonde?
It's blonde, yes.
Okay.
She's her main character. Yeah.
Sunji's the blonde, okay.
Mm-hmm. Keep asking whenever you need to. It's totally fine.
Shit, man.
Yeah. But she's got a good relationship with him at this point, and so she decides he wants to take him out. He is a regular, like, older person and is like, no, I should take you out because you're my subordinate, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, I have to. I am a big girl. I use my paycheck to be nice. So he, of course, is thrilled for hetero reasons, but he retains his composure. He's not all over or anything like that. He really is being very polite with her. They end up at a packed lunch spot and come across Sumin, their boss, who's eating lunch alone. They join her as there are a few open seats remaining, and they settle into ordering. And this really isn't like... Sunji was stoked to see her, but they really do have a decent excuse to sit with her. But, like, while you're watching her boss be like, oh, cool, I get to go out with this girl who's really pretty, you are watching Sunji be like, I have an excuse to sit next to this other pretty woman. And it's like, girl, come on.
There's another pretty woman?
Well, like, Sunji's focused on, like, oh, I get to sit next to my boss, and she's pretty. And so, like, it's like a train of people, like,
he's thinking, wants to, I get to sit, okay.
Like, he's like, oh, I get to go out with my subordinate, she's really pretty.
And then she's like, Sunji saw another pretty woman and was like, ooh, I get to sit next to two pretty women.
No. She is hyper-focused on Sumin. That is the main person that she is looking at and caring about at all times. So, even here with her boss, she's like, my lunch has gotten extra special. So, Sunji and her boss, Jian, do have a decent relationship at this point. Partially driven by Jian's very obvious crush, but also because he's generally casual in his interactions with his team and is good at what he's doing. Sumin remains quiet as they banter back and forth in front of her, her large eyes taking in the situation, which her eyes are like a deer's eyes. They're way too big. The boss's eyes are like...
I hear you. I'm just stuck on why we needed to talk about her large eyes. Are they going to come into play? Are we going to do some eye fucking or something?
What the fuck do you think I'm reading?
I don't know. No. Like, I don't know. Anytime someone points at a body part, I'm like, what are you going to do to that body part?
Nothing. No, she really does have big eyes, and anytime she's thinking hard about something, so the artist focuses in on just her eyes as she's looking at it.
Terrifying eyes.
She looks more like a baby deer a lot of the time. I don't know. Well, Sumin ends up leaving unceremoniously in the middle of their meal, wishing them a good date before running off to smoke and sulk.
Sulking?
Yeah. Because you clearly see that she's upset that Sunji is there with her manager. But you're like, dude, you've known her for like 4 days.
You can't have all the women. You're already fucking your boss. You can't get jealous right now. No, little lesbian.
in Sumin's defense, she's also like, it's none of my business. And I just gotta go. It's none of my business. I don't care. It's not a big deal. She's obviously straight. No worries. She's straight. She's very much in that state of like, no big deal. She's straight. She's hot, sure, but like, she's straight. It's fine. It's fine. Unfortunately for Sumin, she can't quite escape whatever she's trying to run away from, because she runs into Sunji again on the way back up to the office. Sunji, now manager free, enters the elevator with Sumin. But dang, it's awfully crowded in there. And Sumin's like super short.
Let me just huff your hair again.
And Sunji's pretty tall and like very capable, and so of course she protects her precious boss with her hot, youthful body. And Sumin's treated to an eyeful of collarbone. So the black-haired one, she's like
Short,
right
too.
at collarbone level and looking at this tall, gorgeous, thin woman.
All right, you know how I feel about bone structure.
Yeah.
Bones are sexy. Like
Yeah.
protruding bones and wrists and
Uh-huh.
like feet and collarbones.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm sorry, black-haired one, whose name I can't remember.
Yeah, no, she's fucking screwed.
Is it Seiju?
Sumin.
Sumin. Fuck.
Yeah. It's okay.
This is not a good New Year start. I feel really bad. Like,
No. It works. The New Year's already been fucking confusing. This is fine. This tracks.
okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. Because here's my other problem. I'm desperately trying not to call Seiju Shoju.
You can. That's legitimately what her name was based off of.
Alcohol?
Yes. No.
Ah,
There's some alcohol brand like called like it's close to Bake Seiju, and so that's legitimately what her name is. If you want to call her Soju for short, that's like literally on brand.
that's so funny.
Yeah. They're having this intimate, like, kind of Kabedan pseudo moment or whatever in the elevator. And so the moment the elevator door opens, Sumin books it back to her office, and she just kind of shouts back, "Keep up the good work," like really nervously. And I'm like, what work did she do? Working you up? Making you hornier than you've ever been? Damn.
Mm-hmm.
So she runs off, like a horny coward. In her office, uninvited, is the president.
All right. Now it's a little too much sex. And she's this girl's call girl? Fuck.
No.
Okay.
The president is there uninvited.
No,
Like,
I'm saying now it feels like the president showed up to fuck the manager, right?
no.
The boss or whatever she is?
No.
Okay.
That's not what she's there for.
Okay, it just feels... Okay, wait. Is the president in the blonde's office or the black-haired office?
Blackhair's office, yeah.
Okay, good. Then I'm on the right
Yeah.
train of thought. My brain is like, you've already fucked, like, very quickly twice.
Mhm.
So now that she's here a third time, I'm like, now it feels like too much, you know?
This will become clear to you in a second. So, she stops by to tell Sumin face to face, hey, I'm going to be out of the office for a while. And she also explains that she wants to see Sumin as much as possible. But somehow, as Sumin, the black-haired one, is agreeing to meet the president for more intense friendship later, her mind is just stuck on Sunji's collarbone.
Damn, girl.
Because the president just asked her, like, hey, you want to smash later? And she's like, oh yeah, okay, that's fine. Her collarbone. Dang.
Now, are they, like... At this point, are we getting they are sex friend vibes or, like, they are relationship vibes?
You were getting their sex friend vibes because after that comment that
Yeah.
was made about, like, oh, it feels like you're still in love with me, Sumin
Yeah.
glares at her and is like, what the fuck is your problem? And, like, the day that Sunji was like, oh, you smell like the president, Sumin was like, hey, bud, don't wear my fucking perfume again.
Woof.
Like, just because you're at my house and I finger banged you all night does not mean you get to wear my fucking perfume. Do not be a fucking asshole.
Ah, this is a weird situation.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. All right. Okay. So this is Toxic Lesbians. I wasn't
Toxic.
wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a grizzled detective who's not trusting the sexy person who sauntered into my office. I just want to tell you a little story about lesbians. No, the dame came in to tell me about murderous fucking lesbians who have, like, done drugs and sell each other's bodies and hurt each other and then somehow wind up together, because that's what toxic Yuri is. That's the dame. You're the dame who's trying to trick me, and I'm on to you. I have the strings attached. I know this is going to be fucky, I'm ready.
Okay, well, you want to smoke a cigarette about it or what?
I got asthma. I can't do
We
that.
both have asthma in this house.
Yeah.
You want to take a hit off my inhaler about it?
Sure.
So we'll flash forward to the company retreat because if you're, I don't know what it is about reading office comics, but it's always welcome party, company retreat. And I do understand because company retreats are basically like
picnics.
Well, sometimes part picnic. If it's a lot more like the lock-ins that we'd have when we were in grade school. And every lock-in, there was always somebody that like got caught making out behind the bleachers or something like that. So it feels more like that's what it is. Like you put a bunch of like-minded adults in one place and give them liquor and meat, and they're gonna lose their fucking minds. Mm-hmm. So I do get it, but it's always this. So the retreat itself is pretty unimportant for you, the reader, and for the characters themselves, because 90% of the employees are men, and they are obsessively playing foot volley, which I just learned that was the name of it, and that's a thing. But it's like you're playing volleyball with any part but your hands. Yeah, so like
soccer?
Yeah, it's like a mixture between soccer and volleyball.
So you have to get it over the net instead of...
Yes! Dude, and I keep seeing it, and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? And apparently it's called foot volley.
I don't like it.
And people like make it look effortless too, and it makes me so upset because it looks so easy, and I know my crippled ass body cannot do it.
Right? No, I'm just like, no, man.
Like I can't get the ball over the net with my hands consistently, so there's no way I'm bumping it with my chest over. Whatever. I've seen dogs play it too, and dogs are very good at it. But yeah, most of the staff is playing foot volley, and the handful of ladies on the team, the three of them, aren't particularly engaged in synergizing with the team either, so they're kind of off doing their own thing. Once they actually arrive at the location, Sunji realizes that menstruation, as always, is here to ruin a new experience.
That sucks.
Yeah, first company retreat and you're on your period. Shout out.
No.
Yeah. Their team only has the two other women, and one of whom is unable to help, leaving Sumin, the boss, as her only chance for salvation. Sumin is also...
to ask your boss, please, do you have medicine or a tampon?
I mean, yeah, but there's also that like, lady solidarity, like...
There is, but, like, when you're still new, it sucks. I mean, like, shit, I had a funeral to go to, like, when I first got hired, and yes, my boss was a woman, but I was like, I'm a new hire. I had this tragedy happen, and now I have to ask off during that time. You're not supposed to ask off. Hey, can I go to a funeral? She was great about it, but I was so fucking nervous.
Wait, are you likening needing to ask for a tampon to going to a funeral?
Yeah.
Is that what it's like for you? Is it as grave to ask for a period utensil as it is going to a funeral?
No. It is grave to ask for any help.
Okay.
Anytime I'm asking for help, like, oh man, you shut my hand in the car door. Could you please open the car door?
You're having different issues than
I have
everyone
different
else.
issues. It's not about periods being embarrassing. A lot of women have them. A lot of men have them. Whatever. What's embarrassing is asking for help, because then they know I'm weak. They can't know that I'm infallible.
They can't know that I bleed from my vagina.
They can't know that I need a favor. Hey, I'm carrying 5 boxes. Could you carry 1? Oh my god, no, never mind. Give me 3 more. That is how my mind works.
I can't send you back to work.
I don't know if I'm good for this, Scoop. I think my new year's already going into the ground. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Oh man, okay. Sumin, the boss, is also unable to help in the way... She's unable to help in the way that, like, some people have bad taste in menstrual products. Like, they don't, but, like, we've all met that person who has some weird tampon reusable disc situation, and you know that they're trying to help you out, but you're like, can you please give me anything else to take care of my situation? And that's what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
So she ends up directing Sunji to go into town and buy what she needs. So we're clear, town's very close, so it shouldn't be a big deal. But Sumin can't just leave her to go to town by herself. She's never been here before. And she could get lost somehow, you know? Like, on the very clear and direct path to town, she could end up somewhere else. So Sumin escorts her, just to make sure that she's okay.
Just to help.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
It is like literally around the corner.
Oh, okay.
No, it's super close.
She's also definitely into her.
Uh-huh. Once Sunji's got her shit right, she rejoins Sumin and they begin the walk back to the venue. Since the rest of the team will likely be occupied until sundown, they can take their time and meander a bit. They find their way to a cherry blossom festival at Sunji's insistence, and even though her boss isn't really all that interested, she finds herself captivated by the beauty of Sunji, who is thoroughly enjoying herself. She's floating around, taking pictures, soaking it all in, and then she ends up affixing a small cherry blossom branch just right behind her ear, tucked in her hair.
Mm-hmm. You got a picture of that because that sounds cute.
I can find it for you. It's not too far in. I will show you too that Sumin's got a little tattoo right here, which I'll bring up more later.
Oh, pretty.
Yeah, the tattoo's pretty.
That's kind of rare for tattoos to be on women in comics, right?
In Korea, it's less of a big deal to have a tattoo. When we're dealing with Japanese comics, the tattoo is a big deal because obviously it's got Yakuza ties instead of just being a thing.
Mm-hmm.
In Korea, it's not uncommon to get a tattoo. It's more uncommon to get a big tattoo, but just getting a tattoo is not that big of a deal. So in this case, Sumin's tattoo is kind of a big deal because it is so big, but there is a reason for the tattoo that we will find out about later. So this is what we're working with, is Sumin. So Sunji puts the cherry blossom twig into her hair.
Oh,
and
it's cute.
Yeah.
It's really cute because, blonde one.
Sunji, yeah.
Sunji is very much got, in this picture, it's very much oh, you actually look sweet instead of, badass bitch. And then the cute one actually feels like she's badass bitch instead of cute.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to actually be, a reveal of their real character or something, but that's interesting.
It does actually play into their dynamics a little bit. Their appearances all kind of play into that a little bit, or have that kind of surprise element about it or whatever. So we will get to that a little bit. Sunji puts the cherry blossom in her hair, and then she ends up taking a branch and puts it in Sumin's hair as well, and tucks it in very gently and whatever. And then she brings them close so that they can take a selfie, commemorating this beautiful moment. And it's in this moment that Sumin becomes fully captivated by Sunji. She's
already there, pretty much.
Yeah, she is abso-fucking-lutely screwed. And that's ignoring the pink-haired vixen lying in wait.
Yeah, who's haha, don't you love me?
Yeah. So yeah, no, there's nothing she can do about it. I do want to mention... There's a point where Sunji has to stay the night with Sumin, with her boss. They're not involved in any way. It's literally I think somebody got too drunk or whatever, and so they end up together. And as Sunji's kind of nursing her and being are you good? I took you home. Or you're still a little dizzy or whatever? Sumin's oh yeah, fuck shit. I'm really kind of out of it, but I'm gonna go wash up and then then I'll go to bed or whatever. And Sunji's being a good subordinate, being yeah, I gotta take care of my boss to make sure she's good. Mm-hmm. And while Sumin's in the bathroom washing up, she clips her fingernails.
Girl!
I know!
You think you might get some.
Yeah, and I'm just this is before she's even fully acknowledged that she's into Sunji, because she's running circles around herself, making sure that she doesn't do
that hit me so hard. I was la la la. Wait a minute.
She's saying, don't, you can't catch me, gay thoughts, but it's but you're confirmed lesbian. The gay thoughts have been beating your ass for a good 15 years. You need to just accept it.
Have you ever clipped your nails, subconsciously, and then realized later, oh, I thought I was gonna fuck?
No, I just keep them short all the time.
Your nails are dangerous, but, that's all, that's opinion.
That's why, I keep them short all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I need to be polite. So, anybody who doesn't know, if you see a picture with two women holding each other and one of them has a fire-ass manicure, but two fingers have a shorter nail than the other fingers, there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're out in the town and you see a hot lady like that and you're thinking, I want to smash, good luck. Good for you. You found her.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive into these characters and kind of figure some things out a little more, and I'll answer some of your questions eventually, kind of.
You won't. We'll have to shut off all the whatever.
I might.
I'm bitter.
You're welcome. So, of course, you have our main character, Ju Sung-ji. She's our naive little female lead. She is 24, a recent college grad, and she's taking her first steps into employment and adulthood. She lives with her older brother and her sister-in-law, who dote on her like she's, like, crazy. Like, she's the apple of their eye. They have no children, they have her.
That's cute.
It is very cute. She keeps taking steps to be independent and is seemingly fearless. She always says yes to trying anything new, and she assures people that she'll complete whatever task she's been assigned, regardless of if she's done it before or not. So she's got a lot of confidence, and it is actually pretty charming. Like, she can't bake worth a damn, but she goes full gung-ho into like, but I'll make a cake anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what any of this shit means, but I'll get it done. She's a quick and enthusiastic learner, and I do mean in every aspect of her life.
So I bet in sex, too.
Yeah, please take this in a perverted manner.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm asking for. Sumin is the first person she's ever been interested in, and she was smitten from the moment she saw her. She didn't even know what love at first sight felt like, and so she had to explain to her friends, like, yeah, they're just a person I think about all the time. I think I like them. And they're like, girl, all the time. And she's like, yeah, like even right now. Well, when did you start liking them? When I first saw them. Girl,
that's love.
Yeah. Sunji is burdened by her incredible hotness to the point that she sometimes struggles being in public. But she's got a good group of friends that support and care for her. So there's some flashbacks that show her being too upset to go to school because she's stared at all the time. So as like a little
she's so
kid,
pretty.
As a little kid, she's so kind of ethereal looking that she stands out wherever. And so over time, she's kind of had to build up like, oh yeah, nobody's looking at me. I'm totally fine. Like, or people are looking at me, but I just have to be chill about it and like, don't acknowledge it, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
She is very strong in her convictions and honest to the point of embarrassment. She's seemingly innocent, but is much more calculating and conniving than she looks. Like she's not a dumbass. She's not just going to take whatever. She gives that vibe because of her youth, but I would say she has her shit more together than a lot of people in this comic. And she is absolutely the sort of person who could destroy an older lover just by opening her mouth. Because she's young, and she's fearless, and she's confident, so she's going to say really sweet things with her whole fucking chest.
Yeah. That's cute.
Yeah. But it endears you even more to her that she's like that. She's honestly pretty precious while also being very capable.
Like when people do age gap stories, that's actually what I really like about them.
Yeah.
Is that like someone is normally expressing themselves either more maturely or more innocently or just more openly, more honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love it when you can actually see like the maturity levels. I even like it when it's like going wrong. Because I remember there was this one comic where this guy, like, he wasn't dating the younger guy, but the younger guy was pursuing him. And, like, the older guy was being very clear, like, no, it's not going to happen. We're not going to date. But that younger guy had but we hang out all the time, and we both like the same thing, so we'll get together. And I'm like, it's such a cute thing, because it's such a real thing to happen to people. You think something's going to happen, and it's not. Or something is going to happen, but one of you is more honest about it than the other's. Like, I don't know. I like showing that, like, just, like, different places people are.
I'm very much the same, and that's what really kept me in the story, is they have that dynamic going on for sure. Because I think the best age gaps show that there is a gap, obviously, but that it comes down to smaller aspects that make it, kind of obvious, but they have a lot of common other ways. Like, there's a balance to it. I think there's a way to do it right. Not that I don't like the toxic age gaps too, like, I'm an equal opportunist. I'll read anything at least once.
Hey, I mean, like, that's how it is.
But I do like the wholesome ones too. Sung Soo-min, black-haired one, so we're clear.
Okay, yeah. I'll get it.
She is technically our other main character. Sorry, normally I have a main character and a lead, like a romantic lead. This is a case where I kind of feel like both main characters. I kind of feel like there's two main characters to this one, because we spend a lot of time with Sunji and what's going on with her, But I would say a bulk of the comic is actually spent through Sumin's point of view because she has the longest story to tell, I think, for a while. But so she's both like the female lead and the main character. It's interesting.
Cool.
So she's 34, adorable, and a disaster lesbian.
Oh yeah, U-Haul lesbian.
Oh God, it's she gets into relationships too fast for sure, which is partially
Slightly U-Haul lesbian.
so slightly U-Haul lesbian. So she gets into relationships too fast, which is partially why she is fighting the situation with Sunji so much.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, she's the main one to say that's a child. Absolutely not. And it's like she's like 10 years younger than you. She's not a kid, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I get you being cautious and good for you.
She has had so many relationships, though, for sure. But she's a workaholic who's so good at handling business that it takes 2 people to fill her shoes.
Wow.
Yeah. She spends most of the comic kind of closed off and struggling with being open and honest, which is due to a handful of personal tragedies that she experienced when she was younger. She has an extremely messed up relationship with Seiju that she just can't seem to untangle, due in part to working, living, eating adjacent to Seiju at all times.
Yeah.
So, like, they're...
like I said, she was definitely popping up too much.
Yes, she is popping up too much. But, like, yeah, this shouldn't spoil too much. But, for instance, like, Seiju owns Sumin's house. And so, Sumin lives there rent-free. She could buy the house, but she lives there rent-free. And, like, you'll find out more about it later, but it's that thing where it's like, this is already a bad idea. So she has full access to your house at all times?
Yeah.
Dude, really?
No. Dangerous lesbian.
Yes, and then on top of that, Sumin is generally friendless because, again, she has trouble opening up or fully trusting people. She is not a bad person, but she needs to seriously work on herself and let some shit go. Mm-hmm. And I would say that a lot of her, outside of her big personal tragedies that she's had, it's also compounded by the relationships that she's had, because she's dated a ton of women. And somehow, none of those women are around anymore. Mm-hmm. Not a single one. She didn't, like, it's kind of like a weird red flag or concerning trope, because we know multiple people who they dated like 10 years ago and they're still friends.
Yeah. Like,
part of the queer community is like fucking everybody in your friend group and being like besties with them and then marrying somebody else. That's not an uncommon thing. You don't hear it all the time, but we definitely know people
who did that,
who banged everybody in their friend group, and it's like not a big deal.
Yeah.
I can think of a couple people off the top of my head right now that like they got around and then like these people helped them move the next time, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that Sumin has like nobody in her inner circle except for, Little Miss Toxic and Sunji is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
She does have one friend, but I will talk about her in a second. Big Seiju is toxic lesbianism at its best. And she is the third side to this little love triangle that we have going on. Though even calling it love triangle is complicated because you don't get there for a long time. Mm-hmm. She is rich, hot, capable, and everyone she meets finds her beautiful but intimidating. She is deeply entangled in Sumin's life to the point that she just appears in Sumin's house whenever she feels like it. Like, these hoes are codependent. And Seiju's leading the charge of all this codependency. Mm-hmm. She, in her own right, has a lot of trauma that majority of the characters are not privy to through like most of the comic. I think really Sumin's the only one who has kind of an idea, but you as the reader learn a lot more about it. But she would also prefer no one to really know about it. So she's not opening up about this either. She is cagey and secretive and also has trouble trusting people. But she's been like that pretty much since birth. She can be sneaky and conniving as shit, but it's also surprisingly pathetic. Like, she's kind of pitiable for chunks of this comic because she doesn't have her shit together either.
Yeah.
She deserves something, but it just isn't Sumin. Like, she acts like a bad person, but maybe she never learned how to be a decent person. I'm saying this partially because I know people are going to go into this being like, she's the worst person ever. And she's not great. Mm-hmm. But be patient also, because then... I guess I'm trying to save everybody from having the whiplash that I had when I ended up reading this all the way through. But just keep in mind, she's got stuff going on. Her father also plays a pretty important, mostly off-screen role as well. The most we know about him is that he's incredibly rich and has multiple shitty male children, and he also had a mistress.
Oh boy.
Heavy quotations around this. He had a mistress because it seems like he was unattached when he got with this woman, but his relationship with this woman also serves as a catalyst for a lot of his daughter's issues and subsequently the things that go on around Sumin. The dad is like not a bad person either, just like shit sucks, and not every choice he made was the smartest choice.
Right.
But like his mistress,
I don't like how you're doing this like mistress with quotes because like I don't know, is this
not
bad?
No, so
I mean, it sounds bad.
No, so the mistress and the dad are not the ones that make it bad, it's other people. They are fine. They are totally fine. And I'll tell you more detail later, but they are totally fine. They've done nothing wrong. Everyone else around them is jumping back. They're acting a fool.
Okay.
So yeah, it's honestly kind of sad, and it's the catalyst as to why, one of the catalysts as to why Seiju is such a toxic asshole at certain parts.
Mm-hmm.
Homegirl didn't have a chance, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, her parents were fine. It's just other people. So then we have Sunji's older brother and then her sister-in-law. They are very overprotective of her and are consistently burdened by the thought of her getting into a grown-up relationship with an older person. She's so young, so she'll say with her chest like, yeah, I'm dating somebody. And they're like, oh, who? As long as they're not older, it's fine.
They're older.
It's an older person. And they're like, no. Oh, no. They legitimately shed so many tears over her.
That's funny.
Because they're worried about her. But they are actively good forces in her life. I just feel bad that she's so straightforward with them. And she's kind of like, she's got that obliviousness that comes with youth. Like, everything's fine because I'm experiencing it. She pulls that on them and they're so upset. Mm-hmm. My favorite scene is like, she says she's going on a trip with her partner, and her sister-in-law sneaks condoms into her bag because they also don't know she's with a woman. Because also Sunji's just like, I don't need to bring that up, it's fine.
Fair, like,
and
like, don't gotta give details.
Like, yes, fair, but her friends also think that she's dating a man and keep trying to give her man advice. When she explains, like,
no, I'm dating a woman.
When she explains that she's dating somebody who's older than her and also her boss, they're like, no, you can't. He's a pervert.
This is bad.
And so she doesn't mention them for a long time. And they eventually do, her friends eventually find out, and her brother and sister-in-law eventually find out, but it takes a while.
Yeah.
One of the other characters that we don't meet for a while, but I enjoy her a lot because she's very necessary. We have Nam Mi. She is Sumin's only friend that she has, and she is a model. And she is appropriately cunty and equally rude to everyone.
Okay, which one's Sumin again?
The black-haired boss, yeah. Okay.
Do we ever meet the president's friends? Does she have any other friends?
Oh, someone else who has no fucking friends.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
okay.
I'm sorry. I forgot. She's deeply friendless.
All right. That, I was suspicious. I thought so. I'm working on my board.
Yeah, no, we have two friendless bitches going on here. But Nammi is Sumin's friend, and she's a disaster lesbian on purpose. She revels in it. She's the one that's showing up places and fucking all your women on purpose. Mm-hmm. And she even went through a situation where she almost lost her modeling contracts because she got outed as a lesbian, and she was like, try me, bitches. I'll start my own modeling agency.
Damn.
With hot women everywhere.
Oh, you.
And it's like, that's a conflict of interest, my dude. And she's like, is it? But yeah, she loves women too goddamn much to the point where she almost ruined her career.
Girl.
And the careers of several other women.
Oh, girl.
She works as a kind of rude fairy godmother, pushing her three main ladies along by being meddlesome and showing up whenever the fuck she feels like. But she's also got her own good intentions. She loves mess.
Mm-hmm. The rude fairy godmother. I like that.
Yeah, she's the only... I think she and Sumin are friends partially because they tried having sex once and then were like, ew, gross.
God.
Yeah. But I really like her. She's much needed when things are going kind of sideways and stuff, too. The last person I'm going to cover in depth is Chae Jian. So he's the manager. He's Sunji's manager. He is Mr. Ally.
Hey, nice.
We stand an understanding king. He had a huge crush on Sunji and tried to pursue her for a time, but he backed all the way off when he discovered that Sunji and Sumin were dating. And in fact, he helps hide their relationship and checks in on them from time to time. So, like, he did try to confess to Sunji and everything, but she rejected him, and then he was like, oh, maybe, but I really like her. Maybe I need to, like, come to this a different way, because she's really young, and I want her to, like, know that I'm interested, but have that space, and then he figures it out, and he's like, oh, like, actually another subordinate tells him, like, oh, but they're lesbians, and he's immediately like, that's none of my fucking business, and that's no one else's fucking business. We don't talk about that. They can do whatever the fuck they want. And so he's very supportive and kind to both of them. And his actions help Sunji grow a bit too. So he's great, and I want him to get pussy.
Go you.
Yeah, no, he's great. He's very deserving. It's such a nice change from normally how men are. And he's like, I can't believe this woman rejected me. And he's just like, oh, that's why she rejected me. Yeah, girl, go off. Do what you need. There are a few other characters, especially one that takes up like a good chunk of the side stories, but they aren't revealed until like super, super late, and they need so much context that I would spoil some of the juicy parts. But there are so many lesbians in this bitch, it's ridiculous. It's just like, you either have lesbians, are one solid ally, and then shitty old men. Those are the rest of the characters, pretty much. So, this is a story that really unravels the toxic lesbian trope by focusing on individual traits instead of assigning the person as a whole as toxic. Like, Seju is seemingly the worst person on Earth for large portions of this comic, but it's extremely more complicated than that. And really, Sumin and Sunji make a lot of mistakes too. Each one of them does something that, in the right context, could be considered really toxic. Because, okay, I just spent, like, the month of December being balls deep in Christmas romances where a scruffy tree farmer seduces the city girl away from her pretentious boyfriend. And, like, that whole situation is pretty heinous, and technically it's, like, an emotional affair, but I always rooted for Scruff McGruff every fucking time, because the boyfriend sucked and, like, didn't respect her time, and, like, Bear Man let her put the star on top of the Christmas tree or whatever. Like, we contextualize the things that Coots the Christmas Whisperer does as a positive, partially because
Coots?
I'm just, the gruffy Bear Man. Scruff McGruff.
You named him Coots?
Yeah.
You named him Cooter.
He's the Christmas Whisperer. Why wouldn't his name be Coots?
Oh my god.
So Coots the Christmas Whisperer does, like, we give him a positive pass, partially because the things he does are beneficial to the female lead, but he is absolutely doing an affair. And so I kind of look at this comic through that same lens that I use for Christmas rom-coms, is like, yeah, that's inappropriate. That dude sucks. The other guy sucks. And, like, they needed some time, and, like, the female lead needs time to figure out, I should do something else. So, all this to say that the things these ladies do to and for each other are extremely dependent on context. So, like, I root for Sunji, the main character, because Sumin, her boss, needs something different. And it's obvious from the beginning that something needs to change for her to truly thrive as a person. Because it's super fucked up to be, 32 and you have no friends.
Yeah, it's
like, or you have one friend and, like, that's not doing a lot for you, kind of thing. But on the other hand, Sumin does plenty of stupid shit, including repeating the mistakes of her past relationships and then not owning up to it. Like, she just straight up refuses to talk and plays herself constantly. She's her own worst enemy. Yeah. Because every mistake that she makes is like, we could have just done XYZ, and she's like, I didn't even consider that. And I'm like, you're so in your own weird bullshit that you're not moving forward. Like she's stunted, basically. And, like, with that context of her more or less sabotaging herself, Seju's actions, like Little Miss Pink Toxic Bitch, her actions seem way less harmful and more like she's ripping off the Band-Aid for Sumin. Because she just sits there, like, stunned, basically. Hell, like, there's a couple times that Seju saves Sumin from getting more hurt. Because even though, like, her intentions were, like, selfish, like, well, I want Sumin for myself, it actually helped Sumin not get into a worse situation. Like, there's a woman who, she was with Sumin, one of her exes, she's with Sumin, and at the same time was getting married to a man, and just didn't tell Sumin.
Oh, God.
And Seju finds out, and she's like, I'm going to tell her.
Yeah.
And so she breaks them up, essentially. But it's like, yeah, this
But you
motherfucker...
needed to.
Right, this motherfucker was just going to go ahead and marry this dude and then have you as her side piece, because you know how it is. I have to get married. And it's like, Seiju's out here single as shit. Like, you develop more respect for Seiju because, like, she refuses to be with a man. People keep asking, and she won't. She's like, I'm a full-on lesbian. This is my life. This is how I'm going to be. Mm-hmm. And so you at least respect her for that. As fucked up as she can be, you at least respect her for, like, sticking true to herself, you know?
Yeah.
And then, really, selfishness is hard to define in this story because selfish actions are not discouraged and play out mutually beneficially, like, multiple times. Like I was saying, like, Seiju's being selfish, but then helps Sumin, and then Sumin really has to learn to be selfish, which actually improves her relationship with Sunji, but also with herself and with others. Because she kind of just gives up and says, like, well, other people should do what they want. And it's like, right, but what do you want, idiot? Mm-hmm. Like, you obviously want to eat pussy. We know that for sure. But with whomst? Like,
whomst.
With whomst, and for how long? And, like, if you like that pussy, like, keep going for it kind of thing. And then Seiju's selfishness, outside of occasionally helping Sumin, is also necessary for her to survive, and she kind of deserves to be selfish. Like, you don't see it at the beginning, but by the time you're done, you're like, oh, you kind of deserve that. I get where you're coming from. You have to put your oxygen mask on first before you help someone else. But we perceive taking care of ourselves or trying to get what we want as selfish. Mm-hmm. And this is that case where it's like, yeah, sometimes it's selfish, but other times it's what you need. And other times it's just like thinly veiled desperation. Because desperation comes up a lot in this comic also. Mm-hmm. Whether it's the baby I love you or it's, you know, something deeper and a little bit darker. Yeah. Deeper and a little bit darker, huh? Well, I told you somebody almost dies in this. Somebody gets almost murdered.
I forgot.
Yeah. It's like a half attempted murder kind of situation. It's like, I gotta teach you a lesson.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so, like, I will clarify, there is no sexual assault in this.
Oh, that's nice.
There's some dubious consent things, but it's between the two fucked up people, so it's not even really like...
Yeah, and if you're reading honestly, like, again, I don't trust Yuri. I haven't seen one flowery Yuri that didn't have dubious consent.
The flowery Yuris are the worst ones.
They are. Like, the ones that are really pretty, like, it's really sad. Like, again, toxic lesbians, yeah. But I'm sorry, I just, like, I want a story where you tell two people fall in love, and maybe they have toxic traits, but it's not about, but the toxic trait isn't going to lead to, like, dubious consent / rape sex. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of, like, I'll force you down and I'm gonna finger bang you and now you're gay for me. It literally feels like evil lesbians sometimes.
Yeah, it's always something called, like, Flowers Over the Bridge or The Twinkling Stars at Night or something like that.
And if it's not the lesbians doing it to them, it's the lesbians have terrible husbands who abuse them sexually, and then the lesbians find reprieve with each other. I want a normal story, goddammit. I want a normal one. I'm living my normal story, but I would also like to see a normal story, because let me tell you, a kid in the 90s is like, well, I may be bisexual, but I am not going to be a lesbian because, like, I literally was like,
they're dangerous.
Well, like, because it never felt like there was a happy ending for them. I remember we watched, like, one, like, in, like, college, we watched one beautiful, like, romantic piece, and it ended with the woman getting stoned to death.
Yeah.
And it was gorgeous and heartbreaking. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm bi, but I'm going to force myself to marry a man. I told myself, I'm going to marry a man. I'm too scared to be queer. That's why I want softer Yuris.
Yeah.
And softer, like, experiences. Because I did not come out as bi until I was 28. It took that long.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's why I want some softer experience. I'm always bitching about it.
I do not disagree with you. I think a lot of people feel that way. Like, because if it's toxic like this, at least it's fun.
Yeah, this is, like, honestly, this is fine. This is very, very fine.
But a lot of lesbian stuff is tragic.
Which is why I'm just sitting here, 1920s noir detective grizzled, because I've already seen my tragic dame story. And I don't think this one's going to turn out right, you know?
This one actually ends very positively for everybody involved.
So nice.
Yeah, this one is, as much as things get kind of weird, it ends really well for everyone. Everyone, I think, actually gets what they need, which I think is better than like just a generic happy ending. Everyone gets what they actually need, and I think that works out really well.
Great. I'll take it.
Speaking of, I always appreciate a comic that subverts expectations, and this one does in more ways than one. Like, one, that they have this kind of toxic situation, but people get what they actually need at the end, which I think is great. But also, Sunji is a baby, but she's significantly more capable of navigating her age gap relationship than Sumin is. Like, despite it being her first, she is much more in tune with what her needs are, asking what Sumin's needs are, and being very honest with yourself and really trying to live.
That's important too, because like I feel like in a lot of queer relationships, you never know which one is going to be the one that's like has it figured out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's the 20-year-old and the 30-year-old has no idea what they're doing,
especially a little Miss Disaster lesbian. Yeah, she has no idea what she's doing.
Yeah,
but Sunji, I think is an interesting character because she's that like she's hot with problems. Like everyone fawns after her. But it comes to the high cost of regularly losing friendships and people's respect. Mm-hmm. But she went to an all-girls school. Mm-hmm. And at I believe she went to like an all-girls school, and like girls get crushes on her and their friendships with her and stuff like that. Or she's had a lot of men come after her, and it's that superficial interest of like, you're super hot. And when she rejects them, because she's rejected like 30 people in her short life, they ghost her. They're like, well, we only liked you if you were potentially like a partner for us.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't even like that they were heartbroken. They might have known her for 2 minutes. And so that's what even makes her manager, her direct report so cool, is that he gets rejected by her and he's like, well, that's okay.
And that's a hot girl problem that I feel like should be addressed. Like, cause like I have seen women roll their eyes about it. I'm like, no, women, it's just as hard to be hot.
Yeah.
Like, so when we met someone at work, and I'm not going to say their name, but when we met someone at work, I thought they were a little vapid, but pretty quickly, like within a month, I realized it's like, no, you are so hot. Everyone gives you what you want, which like hinders you a little bit. But then also they try to treat you like a meat, though she was setting clear boundaries that she's not a piece of meat, that she had a brain, she did, and that like, she was passionate about her work or passionate about a project, and no, she wasn't going to have sex with you. Mm-hmm. And like, it was a problem. And I was like, damn, I didn't know you could be so hot that this is the then, you know who I'm talking about.
And then she had a best friend who was also egregiously hot, and they both had
to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that was like great meeting them, because again, wonderful people, talented people sometimes came off as a little vapid, because again, they literally did have people hand them stuff.
Yeah.
But they also just like always ran into people who are like, we can't respect that you don't want to date me.
Yeah, but they're also super nice, super uplifting to other women constantly. And so they're definitely girls, but it's like you get put in a situation where like I have it described as like being on the razor's edge between being gorgeous enough to escape ridicule and facing unnecessary backlash for being too pretty. Mm-hmm. That's where these people live, and it's a nightmare in its own special way.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. So, like, Sunji truly knows no peace during a lot of this comic because of those external forces. Mm-hmm. And then, Sumin just looks too young, which is regularly brought up and leads to incidences of disrespect, which isn't the worst thing, but it's goddamn annoying. Like, as somebody who, people keep asking where I go to school.
I know.
At my big age, it's annoying, and it can be kind of extra shitty, because I've definitely been accosted at a store before where somebody thought that I was playing hooky.
Yeah.
From high school as a 26-year-old person. Mm-hmm. And that sucks. I've almost had the cops called on me to call me truant before. Mm-hmm. It's a frightening experience. And she's not getting to that point, but it is frustrating.
Yeah, any of these experiences suck.
Yeah. And then, like in Sumin's case too, like she gets treated younger by some of her exes. So she's been older than a good chunk of her exes, and they just treat her like a dumb little baby sometimes. Ugh. It's infuriating. Obviously, though, like Seju is the most surprising because she comes off as sexy and dangerous and rich and all these other like supposedly good things, but she's not a spoiled rich girl who gets everything she wants, because she, by nature of her birth, she usually doesn't get what she wants. But she's surly and she's sad and she's desperately trying to hold on to some semblance of happiness. That's really where her head's at. And so she's not running around and flaunting things on purpose. It's just how her life is. Like, the more you learn about her, she's not just throwing money around without a reason. She doesn't know what else to do. Like, she doesn't have a full kit of resources on how to people and be with folks. She only knows how to give them things. And so it's kind of pathetic. Like I said before, she's kind of pathetic. She's pitiable. She really actually is a poor little rich girl. When the time comes for, the rich to, I wouldn't eat her.
Yeah.
She's allowed to stick around. But I gotta do a quick shout out to the artist Gaji, because she worked her ass off. And you can really see how she grew by the time the comic wraps up. Like, the earlier chapters are not bad by any means, but I would especially say, like, at the beginning, like, they look fine. She spends a lot of time making sure the women look good and stuff like that. Cute. But
very little plain, though.
That compared to it closer to the end, where they have a little more stuff going on, like, she did a great job. Like, because you really start seeing the differences in the characters' faces and stuff like that. They're finally looking how they want to. Like, Sunji looks like weirdly mature despite being very young, like that mature hot despite being young. Like, you really start to get a feel for it. But they do truly great work by the end. I'm very proud of them.
Nice.
But also, like, I think it takes a lot of talent to do, like, a very thin line work and keep that consistent and have it be really smooth, and she manages to do that. Yeah. But she also puts, like, some...
Like, I'm so envious of people who can do thin line work. I cannot.
No, because her work looks so delicate. But she also puts some serious emphasis on, like, the eyes and the lips. So all the women look sultry and flirty all the goddamn time. Like, homegirl draws lips and kissing like her life depends on it.
Yeah, I was thinking how good her lips look like for the kissing.
She zooms into kissing all the time, and I'm
they're so soft looking, and they look great. I love that.
She also knows what women find horny.
Yeah.
She absolutely knows. She zooms in on all the right places. She's like using that little dusky colored pink for everybody's nipples and shit. She knows what we're into. She's got it. And then full respect to Gyeomji as well, because this story manages to push and pull without getting annoying. Like, love triangles are a trying subject for me. I don't generally enjoy them. I've read some recently, and I still think, you're so lucky I finished this. And I think others can kind of feel the same. Like, some people love them, but, like, the biggest love triangle I feel like in our general zeitgeist right now is fucking Twilight. Ugh. That's one I always remember. Miss me with that shit. Who gives a shit, Bella? Go fuck a woman. Like, neither of these men are worth your goddamn time.
Yeah.
And that's usually how I feel in love triangles, is like, both these people suck straight up.
Yeah, I feel like I don't really like a love triangle unless it's you for sure know who they want. Like, I hate a love triangle where it's back and forth, because I just hate it. Like,
yeah, same.
I'm like, it just feels rude to the two people who are in the love triangle lusting after the one person. And sometimes it's that one person being lusted after that sucks. But then she shouldn't get with either of those men.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
do anyone else.
Like, but like when it's a love triangle and it's clearly one-sided, but there's like a third interrupter, I like that more, because like that has a chance for personal growth of like being like, dude, no, I've told you no, you need to move on. And like, whether it goes bad or not, like I prefer that plot line over like, choose me, no, choose me, who I choose.
Yeah, I also like the one where it's like one person's just still got a crush on, the middle of the triangle. That usually at least has some like chance of resolution of the person being like, yeah, I have a crush, but I got to get over it, or like, it is what it is. That's easier, and usually it's more of a subplot than the main plot. But goddamn, they're trying, and Gyeomji manages to make this conflict make sense and not focus so much on the choices at the center of said triangle as like they're focusing on everybody else's like individual situation. So yeah, we're trying to figure out what's going on in Sumin's head or whatever, but we spend a lot of time following Sunji and her own personal journey and Seju's personal journey as they are trying to figure out what they even want in their lives. Like, is it Sumin? Is it other stuff? Well, like, these conflicts come up and they're still trying to figure out, like, well, how do I tackle that conflict now that it's here? So I really appreciate that we're going that way instead of just waiting for Sumin to make a decision. And like there are even points where like you want no one to get together for everyone's sake.
Yeah.
But Gumji writes them with agency and has these ladies make choices at every step. So like fate's not really a thing. She emphasizes more that they're choosing to be with or grow apart from people, and that is significantly less annoying than the will they won't they kiss over and over kind of thing. And I think that it makes a stronger story in general, and a stronger, I think, connection to what like real romance can be. Is that yes, there absolutely is that spark of attraction and those, you know, the butterflies and being really into somebody, but there's also making choices about if you want to be with that person or not. And long-term relationships form out of choices, not just out of I'm smitten, they're so cute. There are plenty of cliche romantic moments, but they don't feel corny since they're usually coming from Sunji and all the things that she'd like to kind of try out in her first relationship. It's like how Manic Pixie Dream Girl trope doesn't come off so fake when the girl is actually like a 50-year-old woman because, you know, experiences and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's the character's individual experience that alters her perspective and makes these scenes feel more charming and earnest and impactful. Because I'm rooting for Sunji at every moment when she's like, well, let's do this and let's take this selfie. And, well, I'm going to celebrate your birthday with you. And I'm like, yeah, girl, go off.
Nice.
But mostly this comic is about growth. It's obvious that Sunji has some growing up to do, but hers is par for the course for a young woman freshly out in the world. Her emotional maturity is already pretty up there, but you can tell it's built partially by having a caring family, encouraging friends, and her straightforward nature. She's had her own hyper-specific issues that she's had to navigate as well, but it feels like she's the only one who takes time to really think about it and sit with her feelings. She will take that moment to actually, you know, look into herself and figure out what she wants to do. However, she's unknowingly mixed up with two women who have matured responsibility-wise, but are locked in their past as 18-year-olds and are struggling to go past it. So I know I've said that Sumin is kind of stagnating. Like very good at work, everybody looks up to her, she's very well respected, but she is stuck. And I would argue that Seiju is also stuck. They have both been running away from their big feelings for years, which is totally understandable considering what happened, but was obviously incredibly damaging to themselves. You really just have three women beating up themselves as much as they beat up pussy for 130 chapters, desperately trying to take the right path for their futures. That is, what does the fox say? That's what I got. You got any questions that I may or may not answer?
Let's see. That felt surprisingly simple. It sounds like an office romance. Am I picking up that the president and the boss do have a sordid past that they can't break away from? Okay, so like that is like a main conflict that will get resolved later.
And I will say it gets resolved by choices.
Okay. As for the boss and Blonde Shell Barbie, do they also start to resolve towards getting together? Because like I'm listening to this and I'm very unclear if that actually happened.
They do get together in the middle of the comic, and that's one of the major like things that happens if they start dating.
And that becomes a catalyst for like the bad relationship, right?
That becomes a catalyst for a lot of different things.
So things.
Like yes, I would say their relationship's also interesting too because it feels necessary. Like for as weird as things get, it feels necessary that they got together because that's the only way certain things would start moving differently. Because before then, it just feels like it feels like everyone was stuck.
Okay.
Yeah, so the relationship feels very necessary, which is cool because a lot of people's lives are like that, where they have that relationship that maybe it was kind of tumultuous or whatever, or it's like even like a lot of people will say that their first love was important even if it ended badly because it taught them a lot about themselves. That's kind of where their relationship is at, and then we just keep going from there. Because yeah, there's no way Sumin was going to get her shit right unless she dated Sunji.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the pussy she had to slurp on. The one pussy to rule them all.
The one pussy. But yeah, no, I feel pretty good. Like, this is very interesting. I actually, like, this is just a refreshing level of toxic, unless there's something you're really holding back on. So I'm going to give it, like, 8 out of 10 would read, which is pretty high for me with like Yuris that have toxic in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I'm just sick of it. Like,
Yeah.
I've said I'm burnt out on Yaoi, which is why I just kind of hide in my own corner. I'm also way burnt out on Yuri.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. I feel like Yaoi's so much better in this era, and I don't know if Yuri's there yet, but I hope it's trending there.
Every day it gets better. I will say that. Every day it gets a little bit better, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
there's definitely great shows and things out there that are like, they are having the potential of like, let's make this good. But like, I still feel like, man, Yuri is still a little fucked up. And like, some of it is like, we want to lean into it, which again, to each their own. It's just that it was only bad when we were young teens and like, we lived in an area where it was like, gay is okay, lesbian is okay, but if you're bi, you're gonna die. Yeah. And that was why I was quiet.
It just sucks when it's all one note. Nobody likes the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where we've been stuck for a long time.
Yeah. I just want some peace.
But if you are down for a Foxy lesbian love triangle, you can read What Does the Fox Say on TappyToon. It contains violence, cheating, abusive family dynamics, toxic relationships, dubious consent, fucking to fix problems, mentions of past murder, attempted murder, and manipulation. I should also mention that this was originally an early Lays-In title, so if you've come across that version before, the translation is a little bit shaky, and you should definitely give the TappyToon version a go. So even if you've read this before, I would reread the TappyToon version because the translation is definitely tighter. The original run also didn't include all the side stories, which are 100% necessary. You do not get a full grasp on the story unless you read the side stories, so do not skip them. You will enjoy them, I promise.
Okay, how many side stories are there?
I think there's like 30 chapters of side story.
Yeah. I'm just asking because it sounds like it was like hard to find them or something.
So what happened? Oh, yeah, I don't think I've talked about... Yeah, I haven't discussed any comics on here that were part of the Lays-In strike of like 2018, I think. But I've read a couple comics that the artists went on strike because there was some sort of payment discrepancy that Lays-In was having with their contributors. And so I know the women who wrote Kingsmaker and the women who wrote this went on strike. And so the authors for this, they realized in the middle that because they were starting to do the side stories, they realized in the middle during the strike, they were likely not going to be able to finish serializing the side stories on Lays-In. Mm-hmm. And so this comic said it was completed on Lays-In, like 1/3 into the side stories, and then it disappeared for several years, and then it ended up back on TappyToon, and they were able to serialize the rest of it. So yeah, there's a gap of time where it wasn't even available to read the story in full for a bit of time, but now it is. So read it.
Okay.
You can find the members of Team Gaji at team_Gaji. That is TEAM_GAJI on Twitter. They also have a newer comic called Show Me Your Bust on TappyToon if you want more of their work and also like boobs.
Lol. That's funny.
Yeah. If you guys want more Whole, including news or clips or memes or whatever, you can check us out at Whole-Chat on Tumblr and Bluesky. For questions, inquiries, yelling, you can reach us by email at whole.chat.69@gmail.com. But yeah, that's all we have for you this week. So thanks for stopping in again, and tighten up.
Tighten up.